everybody. This is Jackie. I am a I am a life and business coach. What I do is I help new and future entrepreneurs build their life, their finances, and their business. This recording is also for my podcast, which is Victory Chat with Jackie. Your victory starts here. And those of you who follow me when I do these interviews, you know how we do it. We allow the guests to introduce themselves, because who better to introduce you than you? So go ahead and tell the people who you are, tell them your name, your title, and what you do.
All righty. Thank you so much for having me on today. My name is Nani, the Etiquette Lady. I am a certified career and confidence coach, and I'm the founder of the Ladies of Elegance Charm Academy, which is the world's first and only online charm school for melanated change makers and entrepreneurs to level up their manners as well as their money.
Okay, so how long have you been in business?
I've been in business officially since 2015.
That's cool. That's like, okay, so it's 2019. That's 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So have you ever worked with a coach, consultant, or virtual assistant?
Yes, I have worked with all three. And the one thing that I'll be able to, or the one thing that I can say in terms of the journey of building a business is that especially when it starts out as a side hustle, right? So you're working full time, you're doing what you got to do, taking care of your bills, so forth and so on, so you can get to the point where you'd be able to work full time for yourself. But while you're on the journey of entrepreneurship, even though I have a bachelor's degree in marketing communications and a master's of education, you go to college and nobody teaches you how to actually become an entrepreneur and go from having absolutely nothing to building revenue with your business. And so I had to go through tons of coaches. I had to be scammed tons of times in order to actually work with people who were able to teach me how to make money online, and I pass it forward with my business.
And you answered my why. That is so great.
Oh, thank you.
Blanks for the people. Fill in the blanks. I'm not mad at you.
Ask the question, because I will be more than happy to elaborate.
No, I want you to elaborate. It makes it easier. You making my job easy. Okay? So I like easy breezy. Okay, so this is a light question. Do you purchase things online, and how frequently?
Yes, most certainly. I purchase things online, but I'm not a spender, so to speak. I purchase business-related items, and if I'm not purchasing business-related items, like a calendar or lighting equipment or a computer, like big purchases, then I'm purchasing clothing. I'm purchasing new dresses, some head wraps, something, So I wouldn't say that I'm a frequent shopper, but I would say I purchase online the equivalent of once a month, 1 to 2 times a month.
Okay. Yeah, some people consider that frequent.
Really?
That's normal. It's normal.
Okay.
Normal is, I didn't give you a scale, but I think that's normal. It's not excessive, but it's normal. So it's about average.
Okay.
At least it's the average response I normally get.
Really? Oh, that's good. Okay.
1 out of 1 million people that probably ask that question. I don't know. So what made you choose your profession?
Oh, girl, that's a loaded question. So
I don't know.
Well, if I have to be completely honest, I remember my sophomore year of college was when I really discovered that I wanted to teach etiquette in a meaningful way, or teach in a meaningful way. So my sophomore year of college, I sat in on what they called some kind of seminar where the speaker was the founder of what he called the Dream Job Academy, right? And so he said, in order to find your dream job, he said a statement that really stuck out with me. And I considered that my purpose in life. He said, in order to find what he considered your dream job. I consider it your purpose in life. He said, find a problem in society that really pisses you off and be a part of the solution to change it. And so I thought to myself, okay, well, the one thing that makes me angry is that every time I turn on the television screen and I see portrayals of Black women, Hispanic women, minority women, we are typically shown as loud, we're combative, we're promiscuous, we're shameless, all of these negative stereotypes that are attached to who we are truly. And I thought it was completely inaccurate from how I was raised. And so I said, okay, well, I'll infiltrate the media industry and just push out positive images. And I just found out how completely unethical that is. So, I mean, just the industry itself is just way too unethical for me. And so I said, okay, well, I can create a culture of purpose-filled, career-driven women and teach them how to be bold in their integrity and how not to be afraid to do the right thing, how to be proud of who they are, how to love every bit of who they are and every bit of who they are becoming. And, you know, hence was born the Ladies of Elegance Charm Academy.
Love it. Love it. Okay. Do you have people that help you with the daily task of your business or even monthly?
I wish I did. I have nobody. I do everything myself, from the website development to the scheduling to the, now a lot of it is automated. So the only thing that I have to do, because it took years to have to set it up in an automated way, from, you know, sending out automatic emails to even getting new prospects automatically, you know, that took a whole lot of time, but it pretty much runs on autopilot, minus me actually having to keep and maintain relationships with my current students and with any new students that come in, because I do live stream Tuesdays and Thursday evenings at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So aside from that and keeping in touch with my students and helping them build their businesses on a regular basis, everything else is automated.
That's good. I hope you all are catching all those nuggets she's dropping.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I'm just saying, this is good information. So this is specifically about revenue.
Okay.
Now, some of the people I'm interviewing, some of them feel comfortable saying numbers. Some of them like to say multiplication, like ×2, ×3, ×4. So compared to the year when you first began, year one or year two to now, how has your business revenue changed? And this is income.
I can honestly say, because I actually was just able to quit working full-time for someone else and work full-time for myself. And what I've been able to see since 2015, because of course, like I said, side hustle. I was on Side Hustle City, right? And so I was making, oh gosh, maybe less than $1,000 my first year, right? And then that started to multiply the second year, multiply that more the third year, so forth and so on. So now I'm at the point where I'm able to teach people exactly the systems and processes that I use to build a six-figure business per year, okay? And so the one thing that I will say to that is that even if the business that you have, whether you're selling a product or whether you're selling a service, is not a six-figure business, that's perfectly fine, as long as you can bring in consistent money. And I teach my students how to bring in consistent coins by monetizing their social media accounts. And so oh my gosh, because I remember what it was like when I first started, especially when you were an ambitious woman, when you're somebody who's ambitious, you have big dreams, you have big goals, and you feel stuck and you have no idea how to get out of the rut that you're in, because you feel trapped that you're in a job that you could be giving all of your valuable time and your money and your resources into your own business, but you got to take care of your bills, right? And for some reason, it should be so easy to access the information it takes to learn how to put processes in place to make money on autopilot online. And it's like, why in the world don't I know this? Or why do I have to spend tens of thousands of dollars to get this done, you know? And so in conclusion, I guess,
Don't say in conclusion, we're not through.
I know. But at least as far as that thought is concerned.
Yeah.
The coaches that I have come in contact with, I've had to learn bits and pieces coupled with my marketing degree to actually get me to the space that I am currently. So this is like 8+ years of trial and error and struggling, so forth and so on. And then my students come in and I teach them how to build businesses from idea. If they have absolutely nothing, they don't know what to do, how to do it, what their purpose is, whatever. I pretty much help them from idea to implementation so they can start making some money and start changing some lives. That's what it's about.
Yes. Okay, so here's a question. It's not specifically on revenue, but it touches on revenue a little bit. It deals with the growth of your business. Had you from the time your business was a seed in your head, okay, because businesses start here.
Yeah.
To where you are now, did you notice that when your mindset elevated or transformed, so did your business?
That's a great question. And I hope I don't sound self-centered when I say this.
No, go ahead. I want honest answers. Everybody have different views.
Yes, ma'am. So the one thing I will say to that is that number one, entrepreneurs, you have to be bred in terms of knowing exactly what it takes to build a business, but you must have certain characteristics in order to break through that glass ceiling, so to speak. So there are plenty of people who build businesses just to make money. There are plenty of people who build businesses because they're tired of the 9-to-5 grind, but that is not all that is required to be able to build a business. So I've always had that mindset of I would wake up early to work on my business. I would stay late after work to work on my business. I poured hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of man hours over the course of these past few years that built, LOE to the point where it is now. And there are a lot of people, I think that Forbes has some statistics on this, that out of 100,000 people, 6 folks will actually break the 6-figure mark with building their businesses. Why? Because they are doing what it takes. They're doing the stuff people don't want to do that's required of them to be able to actually get to that point. So to answer your question, if you have that mindset early on and you can get in touch with the right people who can help you to avoid making a lot of time-consuming mistakes, right? Then that's a really good thing. Outside of that, business building is not for everybody. Entrepreneurship is not for everybody. So the one thing that I will say to that is that it didn't take having to have an elevated mindset, so to speak, because it's already been there. And like I said, I hope it wasn't too self-centered in saying that.
No, when I say elevated, I mean you go from one level to another. Because one of the things, I'm just talking about my situation. When I think of certain things that I get challenged by, just trying to do business is, to everybody it's different. It depends. There's a theory that says that your perception on life and how things are embedded in you before you're age 6.
Right.
Okay. So, one of my challenges is I believe that, anything is possible, and that, if you find the right point of entry, then you can achieve whatever you desire. However, in believing that, a lot of areas, I found that I didn't always believe that those things were for me. And so in order for me to pursue something outside of the normal, which is the 9-to-5, and go to something extraordinary, which is entrepreneurship, when I say elevate, I mean my mindset had to change. I had
Yes.
to start evaluating, why did I believe this? You know, why did I believe that this is possible for other people, but may not be in my realm?
Oh, girl, let me answer that for you. Let me answer that for you.
And this is what I meant by elevation or
Yeah.
change. Maybe
I
I should have said change.
No, I love that, because it's a symptom of PTSD. That's post-traumatic slave disorder, or post-traumatic slave syndrome, where because we have been so used to being on the bottom, and this is a cultural situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're so used to being on the bottom, we truly believe that the prospect of not having to rent and actually owning something, the prospect of not having to work for someone and being able to work for ourselves and kind of gain access to the information it takes, to the resources and the motivation that it takes to be able to actually get to a certain point. Oh gosh, I have to honestly say, because for the house that I'm in now, my husband and I just recently moved as of last month, right? And we're in Ohio, and we're in this big, beautiful house. And I'm thinking to myself, we were walking through the house. I was like, oh my God, is this house for me? Like, I can't believe, do I deserve this house? You know what I'm saying? And
I understand, because I have to check myself all the time when I say, who, me?
You kind of suffer from that imposter syndrome, because it's like, wow, I'm so used to struggling. I'm so used to being at the bottom. It feels foreign to me not to have to struggle and not to have to be subject to stay in this box. And so I think, because since I was very little, I've always known in my spirit, in my soul, that I was meant to do something really, really huge that was going to change a lot of people's lives, right? Except for the longest time, I had no idea what that was. I was like, well, what the hell am I going to do? I know I'm supposed to be building a business. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? That's the big crisis we have. And if you really look at it, no other nation on earth has that issue where they're struggling with finding what their purpose is. No one cultivates us from a young age to say, listen, this is the possibility that lies before you. Here's the opportunity. Go walk through that door and go make it happen. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. There are other, whether it's races, ethnicities, excuse me, what have you.
That thought of mine is even larger when it comes to women.
Yes.
Women, specifically in the United States, because one of the reasons what I like to teach is stop getting advice from people in the trenches.
Right.
In the trenches. Sometimes we ask, oh, what do you think? Do you think I could do this? If you think I can do this? And these people have never been outside the trenches. Right. How could they tell you what's happening 50 yards from that trench when they've never gotten out of that trench?
Right.
Okay, they don't know what's going on out there. So in order for you to really know, besides you trust in your spirit, is you have to ask people who are not in the trenches, be in the right company, learn to be in the right company. And the person could have came out the trenches because they understand where you are. But the fact is, they're currently not in the trenches. You know what I'm saying? To get out the trenches, because you'll find a lot of people who this is all they know. Like, why? When I got to the point, just speaking from my own experience, when I got to the point where I knew that it was more, and I just had that little spark, right? I had some of everybody saying, well, you got a good job. Why are you applying? Now, this is me trying to get a promotion from the position that I was in. I hadn't left my 9-to-5. You got a good job. Why you want to leave it? Why you want to do something different? You should be glad that you got. Do you know how many people will kill? My response was, It's not that I don't have a good job, but I believe that I'm destined to do more.
Right. You know, my grandmother, my grandmother told me when I was in college, about to graduate college, she told me, listen, get a government job, because in her mind, that was the closest thing, that was the closest form of security, of job security that was available. And she's a baby boomer. Baby boomers had it good when it came to trusting the government, when it came to, you know, getting a piece of that cheddar, right? Now, in 2019, she actually called me up. She called me up, I think it was maybe 2 months ago. And she said, you know what? She said, thank you for not listening to me. Because I told you, I remember, I said, yes, Granddaddy. I said, I remember when you told me to go and get a government job, because I understood back then, Social Security will be non-existent. Pension will be non-existent. We are in an era now where if you do not have some means of ownership, you will be working until you drop dead. Okay. And because we all understand that fundamentally, the millennials, the people who are born in the late 80s and older, we get that. And because we're in an age now where we can innovate to the point where business ownership, entrepreneurship is a definite reality without having to have, you know, the tens of thousands of dollars of a marketing budget in order to make more money. You know what I'm saying? That's a realization now. And so, oh man, I think what you were mentioning is very, very powerful, because the times that I was in college, now the job that I just left, oh my God, it was the best job I'd ever had in my life. Okay. We had, I mean, just the buildings. I worked for an education technology company. The culture was absolutely fantastic. They took us on free company meetings every year. We had unlimited paid time off. I said, what the hell is unlimited paid time off? And I got paid very well. But you cannot allow, just like you were saying, after you set up all your cards right, do not ever allow $50,000 a year prevent you from making $50,000 a month. Don't ever, ever, ever allow that. There is a way to be able to elevate, because I guarantee you, if there was someone who did not look like you, who said, I want to go ahead and start me a business, guess what? The access to building that business is going to be a lot easier for them, which makes the reality of building that business and staying in business a whole lot more realistic. And so for those women or for whomever who build their businesses, who are building their businesses, especially because my biggest concern is my community, right? Because I grew up with absolutely nothing, no money, went to college, had no idea how I was going to be able to pay for college, went without books for 3 years, went without socks the whole 4 years. I mean, really, I was scraping. You see what I'm saying? But but you that gives you more of a tenacity to do something. And the problem, or I wouldn't say the problem, but the one thing that I didn't want to do was build a business without teaching people how to be leaders that give back, without teaching people how to be leaders that teach and train other leaders that can essentially break generational curses and build generational wealth. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. And if I make it all by my lonesome, what in the hell, how is that going to be able to help the rest of the people who, you know, came up before me or who are going to come up after me? You see what I'm saying? So that's pretty much the bottom line of what that's all about.
Okay, before we move on to the next to the out of this and to the next segment of the questions, one thing I want to mention is religion.
Yes.
You know, this is actually for everybody, but of course, you know, I have to talk about what my reality was growing up, right? So it's oftentimes, I spoke about the trenches. A lot of times you see people who've always been in the trenches, and especially when they use the religion avenue, and that's what I'm gonna call it, religion avenue. Okay, they on Religion Avenue Street, and it doesn't matter whether they Catholic or Baptist, Pentecostal or something, they are in the trenches. Okay, so them, and the reason why I put that up is that there is a scripture that talks about the love of money being wrong, right?
Right.
And people have taken that piece of scripture to believe that wealth is not possible, even though the Bible starts talk in various verses about accounting and numbers, and talking about what's in your bag, and about the servants investing their money and bringing back to the person they work for, multiplying their seeds and stuff. But a lot of the things, at least with me, that wasn't my issue, but I do hear a lot of religious people believing that if you are wealthy or well off, that you can't be holy.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on that?
I have two thoughts on that. One is that the scriptures also say that money answers all things, right? Now, mind you, it's not a priority in terms of that being at the forefront of your life, meaning that you live to chase the paper. Because if you live to chase the paper and there's no purpose behind what you are doing, that's your main priority. There's literally no other priority in life outside of that money, which will be very empty for you. The second thought that I have behind that is that hot diggity, it was right in the forefront of my head. Oh my God, I hate when that happens.
Go back to the first point and add to it. That's what that means. Add to the first.
The reason why people don't believe that wealth equates to virtue or equates to holiness, so to speak. There is also a scripture that refers to it being a very rare thing that a rich man gets into heaven. Why is that? Because their priority is not on their people, their priority is not on the Most High. It is on money. Okay. And so, and a lot of people are very selfish with that. And we could look at plenty of examples where people reach a certain threshold and they do very little to go to where the little guy is, right? To be able to teach them, right, to either give back or and I'm not talking about giving away a check for $10,000 to a foundation. That's not what I'm referring to. What I'm referring to is actually teaching people how to fish so that they can be fishing in the same pond that you're fishing in. You see what I'm saying? I think it's a means of competition, and that's not the case in the least bit. And so that is the reason why, and again, that post-traumatic slave syndrome, I'm not meant to have any, it's the thought process that says I'm not meant to have anything. And therefore, if you have something, you in the wrong, because we are supposed to be at the bottom. I am supposed to be at the bottom. You see what I'm saying? And so, yeah, it does. That's the reason why out of the 100,000 people who say, I want to build my business, and who even take the first steps to start businesses, only 6 of those 100,000 actually make it to that 6-figure mark.
That's true. The thing that surprises me is you don't believe in entrepreneurship or wealth, but you believe in the lotto.
Oh, yeah. Because that's a chance. It's a game of chance. There's no responsibility on your end. All you have to do is pay $2, scratch a little ticket, and we'll see what happens, right? It's not.
The odds are better for you to start your own business than you to win the lotto.
Yes, but it requires a lot more work,
a lot of thought,
more work,
a lot of you coming out the trenches,
right?
And a lot of you thinking differently, a lot of you investing in yourself, a lot of you investing in your business, a lot.
And all of that is rooted in discipline. And a lot of people are very uncomfortable with discipline, because discipline means that you have to change up things. You have to change up your thought processes. You have to change up your budgeting. You have to change up, your certain lifestyle changes. Like, for example, if you're somebody who likes to go and eat all the time, you got to save those coins in order to invest in advertising dollars, right? Or you have to possibly pay for some lighting equipment that you desperately need if you're someone who does a live stream, versus spending $30 on a new perfume. There are certain things that you have to prioritize as an entrepreneur that requires a tremendous amount of discipline. That discipline starts within the mindset, not only from a motivational standpoint, but from an actionable standpoint. You must take the actions, and a lot of people are all talk. We're all talk, but the people who make the moves, you'll be able to see.
That's right. Okay, so the next question, we're moving on out of that. The next question is, when you first began your business, how long was it before you made your first sale?
Ooh, girl. That was give me a second. Let me see.
I told you some of the questions are deep and some of them require just a little bit of thought.
I don't think I know within the first year. Now, 2015, I started it, I want to say April of 2015, but I did not, what did I sell? The first thing that I created was an Art of Conversation course. And you want to know how much it was or how much I made, or?
No, just how long was it, the time?
I want to say it was a solid 6 months to a year. Yeah, 6 months to a year. And then after that, in 2017 is when it really took off.
What do you think the challenge between those, when you weren't making consistent money to making consistent money? What do you think the challenge was?
I didn't have systems put in place because I didn't know. Listen, making money online is a formula. And the people who make 6 and 7 figures use the same exact formula. So it's just a matter of knowing what that formula is, setting up the strategy, using the processes and so forth, and then bringing people to it like a conveyor belt, right? So it took until 2018, believe it or not, in order for me to actually have all that stuff in place and to start making consistent money online. And there's a direct correlation with how much you make versus how many times you make offers. I didn't make offers all the time when I first started. I make offers every other week now. And even then, it's still sporadic because there's still a lot going on, especially having to come from moving. So after getting settled and all that good stuff, you should be making at least an offer a week is what you should be making in order to really see some consistent money coming in. And you always have to be consistently speaking to new people, introducing yourself and your business to new people. Studies show it typically takes anywhere between 7 to 9 interactions for a prospective customer, client, student, what have you, to interact with that business before they decide to make a purchase with you. So you have to be consistent, and you have to consistently ask for or you have to consistently make offers, consistently build those relationships. So all of those things working together is what makes you consistent money.
I love that. And especially the fact that you said, you gave the statistics about how saying the offer and have to be consistent, because sometimes, and I'm guilty of this. When I started off in a nonprofit, and I was like, I hated saying what my story was and who I was all the time. Why? And then a light bulb came on, when I started, I don't know, something popped in my head. Like, I need to count and see how often. I was doing a survey for myself to see how many people came, because I do lives too. How many people came on lives? How many people commented? Like, how many were the same people that commented, right? And then I thought, well, you know what? A lot of those lives, I just started talking. I didn't tell them my background. I just went with the lesson and got off. And I'm like, you know what? That won't happen again. So I'm not saying that I won't slip and start talking, because I do sometimes. But because I'm not perfect. If I'm in a hurry, I'm like, okay, I'm being consistent. This is the live day, this and that, and this and that, because I could be doing a live and in the middle I say, oh, forgive me, I forgot to introduce myself. Let me introduce myself. or I'll say it, I always try to say it at the end, because sometimes the people that you start when you hit the live button aren't the same people that you have it. So I started saying things in between, you know, like pause, this is who I am, for those of you don't know me, and you know, just giving them the steps. Like, I might not give them all the details because they came late, but I'll say, okay, just to backtrack before we go to step 3, this is step 1, this is step 2, this is step 3, and now we're on 4. 4 is this, and then I'll talk about 4, and you know what I'm saying, just plugging myself into what I'm doing, and learning to, and all this is in development, you know. So, and where I learned this, because I'm gonna ask you a question at the end of my story, where I learned this was through taking courses, whether it's online, reading books, going to conferences. I mean, even sometimes even in interviews, I'll learn something that I'm doing. I'm like, oh man, I used to do that and I stopped. Let me implement this again. Or I tried this one time, but I really didn't test this theory out. Let me reintroduce this. It's from, like we talked before about the company you keep. You never know, you get inspired by people. So my question is, what are some of the forms education and training that you use, or types to make sure that you stay updated?
Oh man, well, I'll say, especially as a consultant or as a coach, so to speak, because you know, we throw around those words all the time, but as a career and confidence coach, I keep privy to what's going on within my industry. I specialize in 2 main things. One is the social media monetization. So I have to keep in touch with exactly how Facebook and Instagram are changing their algorithms, you know, what goes on within Google when it comes to search engine optimization, how to optimize people's social media profiles in order to make sales, right? While people are visiting their pages, things along those lines. And then I keep up to date on those things. The second thing that I specialize in is feminine influence. And feminine influence is essentially the art of mastering conversation in a way that gives you your desired outcomes without having to sacrifice your feminine energy, right? And so I research things like body language. Like, I talk a lot about body language, poise, etiquette, because of course etiquette is a big part of that feminine energy. So what is proper protocol like I know this week I was talking to my students and new students about, you know, 4 ways to use body language to boost your confidence. You know, the four ways to use body language, the positive way to make a really lasting impression on your next job interview, things along those lines that really stick with people. And so as a coach, or as someone who is considered a subject matter expert, you're constantly researching what goes on within your industry, so you can keep those things top of mind, and you can stay ahead of the competition. So I look up body language, I look up other conversational skills. Except I haven't done that in a really long time because years of accumulating that.
Do you use online, or you use books, or do you do in-person training?
I don't do any in-person training. I've read books and I've looked online. I've gone through other academies, like other charm schools and so forth, through the years since I was in college. And I even had a little bit of formal training in college. I went to an all-women's institution in Virginia in the middle of nowhere. And it's kind of like the big thing there. It was etiquette. So I think, yeah, aside from all of those things, feminine influence and the social media monetization, that's what I keep up with, is body language, conversational skills, and tech.
So this is a question about your business.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you teach code language? I think it's called code language, or switching codes, when people switch their languages based on the audience that they meet or they encounter. Like, for instance, You notice that I snapped and stuff, which is a friendly gesture and stuff, to, you know, just to make the mood lighter and things. But if I was in a boardroom, that gesture would not have happened, because I had to switch codes to talk, to speak the language of the audience.
Yes, I don't consider it switching codes. I haven't actually heard of that before, but that's essentially the what body language is in the first place. It's simply another way of saying nonverbal communication. And nonverbal communication, scientifically, is 93% of all communication. So the 7% is your tone of voice and the words that you use, right? And so what I tell the women is, why wouldn't you want to learn how to master the 93% of communication that people still read? It's the only language that does not have a dictionary, right? But it's a language that everybody speaks and understands fluently, right? So you'll understand my body language if I look at you and I roll my eyes. What is that saying? I may be annoyed, I may be rude, you know, it's giving off the wrong impression. And so I teach women how to use their hands, how to use their torso, how to sit properly, how to use their body to emphasize the message that they want to give off, whether they're speaking or whether they're not speaking. So that's what the element of body language is. So when it comes to code, I suppose, yes, I do teach those things, especially when it comes to micro expressions or expressions of the face that you want to use in order to either stay engaged or engaging, and to read the body language that other people give off as they're speaking to you. That way you know what's going on within their mental. So that's how that works.
That's a really good skill, because especially when you're selling something, and if you're an entrepreneur, no matter what you call it, you're selling something, right? Whether your arena is speaking, you're selling yourself to make an appearance at conferences, training, whatever the scene is, it's selling. So that is really, really, really important, because sometimes people will say the politically correct things, and you may be saying, well, they just said this, but you have to understand what their tone is, because their tone will tell you everything. Right. Like I could say, I'm trying to think of an example off the top of my head.
I'll give you an example.
Okay.
When it comes to tone, in your verbal communication, right? I'm going to say one sentence, and the way that you choose to emphasize certain words could mean something completely different for that exact same sentence. So the one sentence that I give my students is, let's see. I'm going to the park today, right? So I'm going to emphasize it 3 different times. Okay. I'm going to the park today. I'm going to the park today. I'm going to the park today. You see what I'm saying? So the way that you emphasize those 3 things, it means something completely different. Then that's just with the verbal. Now, if I added some nonverbals with it, then that's a whole nother level, right? So those different things, when you educate yourself on how to pick up on those small, teeny weeny little, micro expressions, whether it's facial, whether it's, your body, your torso, your lower half, whatever the case may be, from the way that you position your legs to the way that you position your hands when you speak, to the way that you smile. There's actually a genuine way to smile that people don't realize. You got to smile with your eyes, your whole face, and not just showing teeth, And so you can tell when you say good morning to somebody, you can tell whether it's a genuine good morning or whether it's a fake one, and when you know the science behind it, and you can use that, because listen, feminine influence is our superpower. It's a superpower that's only reserved for women, okay? And when you learn how to master it, you can literally create any desired outcome you want. You can have the best relationships, the best friendships, the best marriage. Like, I've been married 5-6 years, but I've been with my husband for 11 years, right? And just the communication, the body language, the whole 9 yards. When you use it, you can have the most fantastic relationships, and you're the one who are the cause of that, you know?
Yeah, that is so true, because like you can do something and you can irritate somebody, but because you come to them with sincerity and you're smiling, or you could even laugh and stuff. I mean, not laugh that you did something wrong, but I mean, make them laugh. And you'll find people say, it is so hard to be mad at you, you know,
Yes,
and it's,
yes.
you know, you brighten up the atmosphere, because your language, your body, and just your voice, everything you do to communicate changes the atmosphere. And in business, what I find is, if you need a difficult situation resolved and you want somebody to move quickly, oftentimes this is one of the, I'm gonna move on to the next question. I'm just gonna make a little comment. One of the reasons why I kind of dislike I understand it as a business aspect, I understand it. But what I don't like it as a customer aspect is that, a lot of companies have moved to, you have to send an email to contact people, or you have to do all this stuff, and everything is like texting. I mean, text is good, but when you want somebody to move in your favor, it's important to hear that voice.
Yes.
That voice just changes the atmosphere.
Yes.
And then so it causes you to learn a new language, which is written communication. Mm-hmm. Which is good too, because this world is tech savvy. Everybody's texting and sending emails, and so those things are important. So my next question is about your support system. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I know you mentioned that you had a loving husband. Do you have any children?
I don't. We don't have any babies. We're family planning now, but no.
How old are you?
28.
Oh, that is good, girl. You go, girl.
Thank you.
So
I've always wanted babies. I have.
We almost finished. These are light questions.
Okay.
So, do you have any families or friends who support you?
Yes, everybody I know. I don't think that I can mention one person who I know intimately that's not supportive. My mother has always been supportive. My father, even though they weren't together, with me growing up. My grandmother, all of my grandmothers and great grandmothers, and of course my husband, siblings, cousins, family. Because again, you can cultivate, some of the best relationships just with your attitude. And so I am very blessed to have a huge support system of people who truly love me and people who I truly love, and it really has helped me with my confidence, just the whole 9 yards growing up, to be able to teach other people how to be just as confident.
So what do you tell, if you ever came across a customer that did not have the support system, mm-hmm. what would you advise them?
Well, that's very situational. Like, I have spoken with women who have gone through domestic violence situations. I've spoken with women who are single parents. I've spoken with women who, the biggest thing, two of the biggest things from the students that I help on a regular basis is that there is a huge deficit in self-confidence, and there's an even bigger deficit in them truly knowing what their purpose is, right? And so I just always steer it back to them finding whatever it is. And I help them, number one, with it's a Myers-Briggs or Jung typology test. So we take a very quick personality test to gauge exactly how they interact with people, how they think cognitively. And then we base however their personality is, based upon whichever industry they may be able to flourish the most in. Then I marry what industry they'd be able to flourish the most in with their talents as well as their passion. And we create the perfect business for them if they're looking to build businesses. If they are advocates, because like I said, entrepreneurship is not for everybody. So if they're advocates, if there's someone who rallies for, who are, some of the most important people to support other businesses, other minority and women-owned businesses, then they can use their skills and talents to grow, those other folks' businesses up. And so with that entrepreneurship aspect, coupled with them finding their purpose, it works hand in hand, because they're not building businesses to make money. They're building businesses to fill a void that they see. So that right there is what gives them a sense of purpose. And then along the way, they have a community, they have a sisterhood through LOE Academy. They have, whatever support system, whether it's in their school, whether it's with their family, whether it's, even if they don't have it anywhere else, they got it with LOE, right? They got a nice little support system. We meet online on a weekly basis, monthly basis, just to give them that boost that they need. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, having to boost up the confidence level. But like I said, with the education that they have and knowing how to influence the world around them, it does build up their confidence. We do affirmations, which is super, super important, because that helps them to change their mindset. So it's taking it a step deeper versus, or it's taking a step deeper by you not just saying, I'm worthy enough, I'm beautiful enough, I'm smart enough. It's taking it a step deeper to say something you appreciate about yourself, to say a quality that you're going to have that day, that you're going to manifest simply because you spoke it into existence. And that's the craziest thing that I've been able to see, is that the women who go through that and who do that, they give me the craziest stories of how their interactions went, simply because of the affirmations they did that morning, that week, that month, things along those lines. So that's what it's a process. It's never a magic word or magic scripture or magic anything that'll have them go, oh, wow, I feel a lot better about myself. It's a journey. It's definitely a journey.
I love the answers you've been given.
Thank you.
This is good. Okay, so this is the last question, right? And then after you answer this question, the only thing I'm gonna ask is for your contact information. Mm-hmm. And like, if you have if you give your website, I want you to spell it out after you say it.
Yeah.
So, okay, so real quick, if you could give people who are starting out or brand new 3 tips, starting out their journey as entrepreneurship, what would be those 3 tips you would give them?
If they're starting out their journey in entrepreneurship and they were working with me? Or
no, just period. Just period.
Okay. If they're starting out their journey,
Mm-hmm.
if you are just starting out your journey to entrepreneurship, what I would say is that your business is not for you. Your business is for the community that you serve and the people that you represent. If you keep that top of mind, then you will stop at nothing to fill the void that you see in order to serve the people that your business is meant to serve. The money will come after that, okay? The second piece of advice, oh my gosh, you're making me think. Let's see. The second piece of advice I would say is that the mentality, I think we touched on this a little bit earlier today, the mentality of building a business must be consistent because it is rooted within your level of discipline. So if you are doubtful, if you are someone who needs to be pushed in order to do anything, if you're someone who feels as though you need to work under pressure in order to make stuff happen, entrepreneurship may not be the best route for you to take. The third piece of advice that I will give is that you can literally build a business in any industry and do anything. You can come up with the most unconventional business ideas and run with it. And that's the reason why I was mentioning that you can fill a void. Hot diggity. You can fill a void. And here's what I mean by that. There's one woman who, I'll just throw out some business ideas here. There's some people who have homeschooling businesses.
Porta potties.
What'd you say?
Porta potties.
Porta potties.
They make a lot of money because nobody wants to do that job.
That's true. That's true. You have, and actually people don't even realize that you can build a business actually simply creating a platform for other people to go to. Like there's one of my students who is studying to become a nurse, and she thought that she needed to get her certifications and all that before she could start her business. I said, no, you don't have to do that. And so the void that she sees is that there are people who get prescriptions who don't know what they're putting in their bodies. And I said, you could provide the platform for giving the information where somebody could simply tap a button, open an app, and either scan their prescription for somebody to say, or for that app to give them the full description of what that medicine is, what it does to your body, and what the alternatives look like. That itself can be very, very lucrative. Okay. So there, like I said, there are so many different ways to go about building a business. It can be as unconventional as you want it to be. There's another woman who makes educational games for kindergarten students. Okay. So things like that, it's like, damn, I didn't think I could do something like that. If I know I'm really good, if I have a creative bug and I love education, slap them two together and create some games for the kids. Okay. So that's essentially the three pieces of advice that I would give, is that you have to have the right mentality, is that you can be as unconventional as you want to be. What was the first one I did? What was the first one I said? I forgot.
You said one was, we were talking about mindset, consistency.
Well, yeah, consistency. No, there was one. Hot diggity, I forgot. But it's recorded, so you can go back and listen to what I said.
That's okay. That's okay. You did give 3. You might have even gave 4. I wasn't counting. I was listening. I was soaking up the information.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, what she gonna say next? You were born to teach, so I want to, on behalf of everybody you get the opportunity to connect with, I want to thank you for answering the call, because many people are called and don't answer.
Well, thank you so much for hosting this platform for me to speak on. It's super exciting.
So before I let you go, I do want to thank you, but I need you to tell the people what you have going on right now and how they can get in contact with you.
All right. So currently, if you want to work with me one-on-one, like the rest of my students do, then you are more than welcome to join the Biz Lady School membership. The membership actually very recently was $4,700. It is now down to only $25 per month. I'm on a mission to help 500 women to be more purpose-filled and career-driven. And for that reason, I'm going to help you monetize your social media accounts to build businesses, make some consistent coins, actually helping out your communities and filling that void that we talked about earlier today. The only reason why, the reason why it's only going to be 500 is because I typically need 6 months working with you within the Biz Lady School realm. Normally my students stay with me anywhere between 9 to 12 months, but 6 months is all I really need to teach you how to, for us to get to a goal of you bringing in revenue of a minimum of $100 online. Because once I teach you the systems, once I give you all the education, if you know how to make $100 online, you'll know how to make $100,000 online. All right. So My IG, the Instagram is at LOE Academy, LOEACADEMY. Make sure that you follow. And if you want to get text message notifications for when I go live on Tuesdays and Thursday evenings at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the priority discounts on courses that come out, then text the word BizLady to 484848. That's BIZLADY to 484848. That way I give you all the juicy stuff before everybody else knows about it. And the website is www.loeacademy.com. That's LOEACADEMY.com. Just to read up all about LOE Academy, learn about the different membership levels, different courses that are offered, so forth and so on. And that's it.
This has been fun. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You as well. Have a good one and keep doing what you're doing.
Girl, I'm trying to get where you at, honey.
That's all right. You can get there. We can get there together.